When I play a game nowadays, I usually look for one key aspect to bring me back to it. Immersion. Now, immersion can bear a different meaning for everyone. To some people, immersion is fun, or it could be realism. To me, immersion is an escape. It's a game that puts me in disbelief, making me think that I'm truly part of the in-game world, and that reality is kinda just tossed aside. Of course, that's ridiculous. Even when we play some of the most engrossing games ever, there's a part of our brain that's constantly wondering what time it is, or if we're hungry, or tired, or whatever. But sometimes, on rare occasions, there comes a game that can truly suspend my thoughts concerning the real world, and have me believing, even for a brief time, that I am part of the video game world. In other words, it makes me forget the time. And it ends up being 3 in the morning, and I'm like, oh shit. I love open world games. I think most people do, seeing as that's what the market is leaning towards nowadays. I constantly keep my eye open for open world games that interest me because I love experiencing something else entirely at the pace that I want to enjoy it. Some open world games I've been playing lately have been The Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion, Witcher 3, Dark Souls, and now The Breath of the Wild. To be able to walk about these worlds, taking in every sight, every challenge, and entirely at my own pace, well, like I said, I love it. Dark Souls and The Elder Scrolls are especially like this for me. I can walk, run, sprint, doesn't matter. I can experience the land and the fights at the time of my choosing. And Breath of the Wild is very similar. I think I should say now, before I go any further, that I am not a Zelda fan. I'm sure that a few of you are going to want to strangle me for even saying that sentence, but it's true. I always thought that, artistically, they were beautifully crafted games, but I never really enjoyed the gameplay. That being said, I find this installment of the Zelda franchise to be not just one of the best Zelda games, but one of my favorite open world games I've ever played. This game is mysterious. Mystery and exploration are two major factors for me when it comes to open world fantasy games. So far, Breath of the Wild is one of the greatest. You're not meant to entirely understand everything. When Link wakes up in the beginning of the game, you don't know why he was there. No intro movie was shown to explain everything to you. No exposition was thrown in your face. You just wake up and begin. The first cave is very short. Its only purpose is to introduce you to the Sheikah Slate, a piece of ancient technology you'll use throughout the game, and your first set of clothes. After that, you leave the cave, only to expose yourself to the open, beautiful, and bright world. From here on, you get to explore. The game world is so incredibly beautiful, and a lot of that comes from its simplicity. Not only is it beautiful, but the open world will present many mysteries to players who explore, instead of trotting down the story's path. For instance, I went towards the Bridge of Hylia in the game, and I found some mysterious dragons circling the bridge, occasionally dipping into the water. Upon further investigation, it killed me. Instantly. Kinda unfair, actually. During the rest of my time with the game, I have discovered many other mysteries like this one, and all because I decided to explore and go my own way. I don't want to reveal too many of them, in case some of you haven't played the game yet and you plan to. There aren't in-depth crafting options like The Witcher 3, or complex level-up screens like Dark Souls. Instead, there's a large emphasis on exploration and seeing what lies over the horizon, through the forest, or off a cliff. For a large portion of the beginning of the game, there isn't much in terms of story. Bits and pieces of it are introduced to you, but it's not overwhelming. Even when the plot does begin to take shape, it's still not overwhelming. And to me, it isn't even the main focus. I found myself not entirely pursuing the plot, but not because it was boring, but because the world itself was so full of life that I just wanted to discover new things on my own agenda. The game's mostly simple, but it does have some complex features. They're nothing crazy, but they still have depth to them. I really appreciate the art and design that goes into video games. On one hand, you have games that create stunning visuals with neon lights, like Fury. On the other hand, you have games that use art direction to tell a story, like BioShock. I love this game's art style. It's unique, and I think it closely resembles Wind Waker, but not nearly as cartoonish. It's definitely one of the prettiest games I've looked at in a long time, which just goes to show that realistic graphics aren't everything. Breath of the Wild uses simple visuals with such stunning colors that make me want to see the sights that the world has to offer. I want to run through the fields, watching the grass sway around my feet. I want to paraglide off a cliff and casually float in the breeze. I want to watch as my enemies self-destruct once I've brutally cut them apart with my sword. Just ignore that last part. I can tell that this game takes some inspiration from Japanese culture, like in Kakariko Village. The design of the structures is really intricate and unique, and the village feels alive. Now, this game won't have people hawking up some snot and laughing at their own farts. But its inhabitants will stop and say something to you if you choose to engage them in conversation. In one of the villages, a child wanted to play tag, similar to the children in Skyrim, but this time I wasn't dressed as the most badass dragon-slaying warrior who wanted to take 5 minutes to release his inner child. If you aren't wearing any clothes, other characters will ask if you're cold. If it's raining outside, they'll run into their houses. And by the way, the weather effects in the game are not only pretty to look at, but they impact the game in a lot of ways. For example, if it rains, climbing up surfaces now becomes much more challenging. Without warning, Link will lose his grip and slide down the surface a little bit. This forces you to strategize when to climb up steep cliffs. Rain also won't let you use bomb arrows like normal, which I found out the hard way. The voice acting exists, and that's really all there is to say about it. This game won't be getting any awards for the voice performances anytime soon, but I do enjoy how they do it. You mostly have to read everything that's said, but I don't mind. When you activate a character, they'll hum or make some noise, and I actually enjoy it. I'm not going to talk about the music for too long. It was composed by Manaka Kateoka, as well as Yasuaki Iwata. Sorry if I didn't pronounce that correctly. I'm so sorry. I'm an ignorant white American. But first of all, congratulations to you too. Breath of the Wild soundtrack is incredible. What I really want to talk about, however, is how the music only heightens the game's environment and gameplay. There are times where the music doesn't play at all. All I hear is the breeze, some crickets, and some birds. These are the moments where I'm usually on a hill or a cliff overlooking a large part of the land. And it's pretty common for me to just stop there and take in the view. When the music does play, it clearly indicates what's going on around you. If you've entered combat, the combat music starts playing right away, seamlessly. When the music is peaceful or mysterious, you feel those emotions as you're exploring or observing the world around you. So yes, the soundtrack is phenomenal. I really enjoy it. So if you haven't noticed, I haven't really given my opinion on much of the game's story. I enjoy what I played of it, but I haven't told you if it's good or not. And there's a very simple explanation for that. I haven't beaten it. I have about 13 or 14 hours into the game as of the time I'm writing this script. Hardly any games keep me coming back after about 15 hours of gameplay nowadays, and I can see myself playing Breath of the Wild for many more hours to come. I've hardly made much progress in terms of the story, but I've explored some of the land. Honestly though, this map is freaking huge, which makes me very happy. I know that there are different biomes. I already spent some time on top of a mountain, where I was constantly fighting Mother Nature in order to not freeze to death. I'm excited for when I get to more areas like the volcano or the desert. The survival aspects of this game are truly outstanding, and I absolutely hate survival games. I know a lot of reviewers are giving this game a 10 out of 10 or a 5 out of 5. And yeah, it's an amazing game, one that I'll be playing for a long time to come. But I don't know about a perfect rating. And you know what the funniest part is? In these perfect score reviews, the reviewers still have written down some things that were bad about the game. Yeah, that makes sense. But anyways, guys, that's about it. If you're not a Zelda fan but love open world games, I would still recommend this to you. If you are a Zelda fan and love open world games, then you're probably not watching this video because you're playing the game instead. This is one of the few games that will captivate me and keep me immersed for a long time to come. With all that being said, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.